Welcome to Caching Waves. This is another wave update for DOGWIFHAT. Now, before I get into this count, I'm going to do a lot of it in real time. This was literally the last video I posted. I was looking for this ABC, tiny diagonal up. You can see my gray box there, and looking for this pivot to the downside. That was my primary count. You can look at today, right up to our 5-wave move, pivot in the gray box, make a new low. Welcome to go watch that video. That's what I was looking for. I think I even gave the setup, but I could be wrong. There was the setup, yep. You can see up from the area, that's what we were looking for. A drop after, right here, and our long opened. Okay, so now that we're established that it did follow that path, we need to talk about the larger time frame move. Now I need to do this in real time, do the update, but just to show you where we're at on a larger time frame, have this as a completed 5-wave move to the upside. Now, my bias is this is a larger wave 1 and 2, but what you have to understand is if this is a 1-2, which is my belief, this is either a WXYXZ, which is possible, a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and complete, or this is an A wave, which is my bias. I think we're going to get a slight recovery for a B wave and a collapse for our C wave. We are looking for a zigzag in a 1-2 pattern. If we go with standard guidelines, where do we look for a wave 2 in a 1-2? It's between the 382 and the 786, all the way down here, as low as 16-ish cents. And we're using log scale for this one. Ideally, obviously, we come between the 50 and the 618. That's the most likely area. But you can see we're not even close to that area. And we have a 5-wave move down in a series of 3s. This low could even go a little bit lower. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. I'm not bearish on this coin long term. In fact, if you go back to January, February, we played this entire move to the upside. But we have to be aware that this is a 5-wave complete, and this is the zone we expect a wave 2 to come to. And we have a potential diagonal complete. So let's talk about that on the smaller time frames. This was the count I was looking for last time. Let me just get rid of this here. So from our high, this was last video, we're looking for an ABC to the downside. I haven't moved this, nothing like that. It looks like most likely this is actually a double combination as an ABC, X, ABC to complete. But you can see our trend line's holding true. Our pivot was at the 618 of the 3rd wave down. So this does look very good as a diagonal for an A wave. So that's my primary currently right now. Alternative is a WXYXZ, and that's your bottom of your correction in a wave 2 that came extremely low for a retracement. So that's my alternative if for whatever reason we start to impulse. But this is the most likely scenario right now as a diagonal. So looking for a B wave and a C wave to the downside. This is going to be a nice short if we can get it, and a pretty clean pattern, so it should be pretty easy for a trade setup. Assuming the bottom is in as a diagonal, looking for between the 382 and the 618 for our B wave. I can get rid of this one. Just going to move these over so they're easy to see. Ideally, we come between the 50 and the 618, but I'm just throwing on the 382. We could eat up some time here as well. Usually B waves don't have a time limit, but I do want to at least gauge around the 618 to the 1-to-1. See where that puts us. Minimum 30%. 618 to the 1-to-1. Ideal. So minimum I'd want us to come to is September 12th for this B wave up in our zone. Let me mark that zone out too. Right there, put our border on. There is our ideal B zone. Eventually looking for this move to the downside. So looking for zigzag patterns. Usually that's what you want to instinctively look for, is zigzags, so 5-3-5. So going to be paying attention here, looking for a trade setup if we get a nice 5-wave move on, say, the 15-minute chart. It's not a bad C-wave trade setup if we do get a nice 5-wave move, but as of right now, I don't really see anything there, similar to everything else. But it would be a nice little scalp if we get this maybe a 2-to-1 if we're able to get this 5-wave move up. Is there anything there? Like everything else, looks like a potential diagonal. But I will be keeping track of this once there's something worth discussing. But as of right now, would like to see a 5-wave move, look for a B wave, and this is where I would look for a trade setup, something like this. Stop at the low just for a C wave. Might be able to get a 3-to-1, but what I'm more interested in is the short. Because once we get this B wave and we're looking for a C wave down, say we get the 50, it's going to be a nice short. Something like this. And our eventual long, obviously, if this is a 1-2. But as of right now, have a completed A wave, or if, for whatever reason, this does invalidate and take out the 618 at 273.8 and consolidate here, obviously I will have to readjust my count. But as of right now, looks like an A wave only, and looking for a B and a C to the downside. This is one where you have to pay attention. Like, it took off while other things were correcting, right? It's just further along in its cycle. Yes, we will get some relief to the upside, but we're not going to make all-time highs. Very, very unlikely before we get this B and C. All right, guys, so that's it for Dog with Hat. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.